You what? The reason you can't money and how much is not fundamentally relevant. Today we are to read this classic book by the richest person. Its core view is enough to subvert your perception. It tells us that our so-called necessary expenses will increase to our income balance unless we take initiative to control it. This book is the law. Its most fundamental rule is to start saving money, even if it's only 1/10. Because you've been working for everyone except yourself. Then, let every penny become your money slave, bringing you endless income. Sounds simple, right? But simple is not easy. The most shocking is the itself, but the those to the rich. As the book says, opportunity is a proud goddess. She never waits for those not prepared. So today, this just book sharing, but an action call. We will the wealth loss plan into a product you can use directly. If you buy the waiting, and to start moving, then please stay focused. We will learn together how to speed up your process so that you can begin to make money. We talked about new fact. We can't save money. How much? Maybe it has nothing, the fundamental. Behind there is actually a deeper reason, most of them have realized. The solving all wealth problems must start with the fundamental question. That is, who you working? You may say, what of question? Of course, I'm working my boss. My client, my company. That's right, but that's where the key to is. Let's take look the first typical case. This man is called Ban Xiel, a war-torn craftsman. His product quality is the best city. In theory, he shouldn't about money, but in reality, he poor and is poor. He and his friends, talented musicians, are in the same situation. They work their time and skills to exchange for revenge, but the money pay to the food, clothes, and rent. In the end, they can't. This is the most of us think. Our core logic is that time and skills are equal to income. In this mode, we want to make more money. The only way is to more work or increase unit time. We are essentially selling ourselves as a kind of commodity to this society. Our job is to create value and then exchange for revenge to survive. So Bang Sell will ask that, full of helplessness. Why we make so much money but can only satisfy when bow? His question is wrong. He only saw to make, but did see to keep it. He did realize that all his hard work, hard left to others, is just a pipe, not a reservoir. So what the perception? Let's look another case which is the main character of late Richest Man, Al-Qadi. Al-Qadi's starting point is even lower Banksier. He is just a humble copywriter, but he did something Banksier. When he had the opportunity to the rich debtor, Ojamis, he did ask the other party to him higher. He asked for obtaining wealth. He wanted to know is how to fundamentally change his financial situation. And that Ojamishi taught him was also most fundamental new method. It completely answered the title. Ojamishi said, "You have been paying for everyone except yourself." Please pause and taste this sentence, you get paid. Did you think about paying credit cards, mortgage, and various bills? You paid the bank, the business, the platform. You paid all who provided you goods and services. They are all using your money to build their own wealth. And you, as the creator, don't use your slaves to challenge the impossible task. The first mistake is to listen to the words, "Send your slaves to participate in a fierce battle." That is, he thought this was, could the slave number double overnight, as none the slaves out came back. This manual warns us that anyone who wants force your slaves to make an unrealistic profit or listen to the tricks to make them engage high-risk activities will lead to you losing them. The manual wants us is recorded in 4. Don't your slaves to you don't know. The second mistake is that the rest the slaves to he doesn't know, and person with no experience, and to a strange construction site. He doesn't, this construction site, and can't tell where they are and where crops, as his slaves are in trouble, are severely the warns us that if you, your slaves, to an unfamiliar place, or leave them to an outsider to manage, they will run away or be wasted, after he personally buried all the slaves. Is the most important ceremony. But we will soon encounter the next reality problem. We know that need to save money, but we can't control our hands. Every month is still bright. What should we? This is our automated saving system needs solve. In next part, we will analyze the accumulation of LETs, the uses two simple, effective methods to help us fight against consumer nature and really build our first wealth reservoir. In last part, we have the most critical perception of subversion. To subvert, we have to turn ourselves from a worker to a capitalist, and the first ceremony is to pay for ourselves. But then comes the most realistic and most ancient question. I understand, but I just save money. Every month, salary is out of and thereof bills left. I can't control myself. What should I? This question exactly shows that we are to save money, but a system defends nature. Next, we have to analyze. But himself in last position, and even completely forgot to pay for so. That Alcott learned was to completely subvert this order. Alcott told him, save your income. The real meaning is, before paying anyone, pay yourself first. Leave least tenth, and this money is not left, but you have pay for yourself. The first priority is salary. This action is of capital thinking. Its core logic is that capital time equals more capital. When you start saving the first money you have, the first capital, your identity starts from a person who only uses time to change money. You start from a only money. You no longer just for others. You start to your own wealth empire. So the first step is not even an action, but a completely subversive from a only wants to change money with, to a thinks about how to make money, and leave 1/10 to yourself, is the to complete this transformation. Is the most important ceremony, but we will soon encounter the next reality problem. We know that need to save money, but we can't control our hands. Every month is still bright. What should we do? This is our automated saving system needs solve. In next part, we will analyze the accumulation of LETs, the uses, two simple, effective methods to help us fight against consumer nature and really build our first wealth reservoir. In last part, we have the most critical perception of subversion. To subvert, we have to turn ourselves from a worker to a capitalist. And the first ceremony is to pay for ourselves. But then comes the most realistic and most ancient question. I understand, but I just save money. Every month, salary is out of, and thereof bills left. I can't control myself. What should I do? This question exactly shows that we are to save money, but a system defends nature. Next, we have to analyze ... We can call it the Parkinson's law of the original text is the so-called necessity of spending, if not deliberately controlled, will always our income. This sentence translates to your spending will expand until you always our income. Think about it. When you are 5,000, you feel that 10,000 can live a good life. But when you are really 10,000, you will find that you need a better phone, need more expensive skincare products, need to travel your desire always runs in store family. That tells us, don't the need for spending and desire into one. And most of us just take the endless desire as necessary spending. And the budget tool is a scalpel, helps us accurately cut off those that are as necessary. It doesn't want you to hard life. On contrary, aims to use every penny to their value to 100%. It forces you review every spending and then make choice. This cup of expensive coffee is really then your future financial freedom? This impulsive consumer's clothes? Can in your bank account bring you a sense of sofa? By the savings and active budget, our wealth accumulation engine is officially started. The former guarantees the stable input, the latter guarantees the efficient use and zero loss. Your financial situation will turn from an uncertain black box into a predictable system. Okay, through this powerful accumulation engine, our wealth reservoirs are starting water and no leak. Our money is starting to sink. Isn't great, but new problem. We should keep these waters like watching the water rise and wash itself? Of course not. A pool of dead water cannot produce more energy. We must let the water flow, generate electricity and water. This is the our wealth journey and the most exciting step. How to your money work you? Make your wealth reservoir become a water station. Next part. We will go in depth to discuss the growth engine. Learn how our money slaves start to create a continuous passive income. In the last part, we successfully built the accumulation engine. But new problem is here again. Should just these waters look at the water rising and dipping in self-washing? Of course not. A pool of dead water cannot produce more energy. We have let the water flow, generate electricity, and water it. This is the our wealth journey. It is also the most exciting step. How to your money work for you. Make your wealth reservoir become a water power station. This concept is to change again. First part, we have from a worker to works for himself. And now we are to from a who goes to into a who thousands. And your army is every copper plate. The use is a very powerful and well-versed metaphor. Every penny should not be in your wallet. He's the first you can give at. Your task is to become a wise slave owner. End them out. Let them 24 hours without sleep. Then bring back more slaves. Let money work you. Sounds a little abstract. What mean? The first successful investment is the best example. His first savings to the Assyrian Agar. Agar needs this money as his capital to buy bronze, and then make a shield and sell it to make profits. After Agar not only returned the capital, but also paid interest to Al-Qat. You see this process, Al-Qat himself is still doing his copywriting work, but he has saved the money. But he has saved the money, but save the money. This is the ancient and most fundamental investment. Let your capital participate in the value creation and divide it a cup rice. And the most terrifying power lies in its self-reliance ability, which is the wealth your money slaves will work you. They will also have children, and their children will become your new slaves, birth to more grandchildren. For in there is an extremely shocking example. A farmer saved 10 silver coins for the debtor. He promised to get 1/4 of the interest, and interest will automatically roll into the capital and continue to rise. You guess how money has become 167 silver coins, almost 16 times. This story reveals the two core secrets. The first is the mechanism. The income must be reinvested into new capital. The second, most importantly, is time. The first few years, this kind growth may be and is easy to lose patience. But as time goes by, when your slave army grows bigger and the growth will show an explosive curve, time is the most critical fuel. Once you experience it, your money is making money. Your mentality will change fundamentally. You will start to care about assets and passive income. As Al-Qat said, the wealth is not how much money, but by the income. The continuous flow into his wallet is his wealth. Your goal is longer have a full water, but to have a never-ending river. Here, quite sure, time is the most critical fuel. Once you experience it, your money is making money. Your mentality will change fundamentally. You will start to care about assets and passive income. As Al-Qat said, the wealth is not how much money, but by the income. The continuous flow into his wallet is his wealth. Your goal is longer have a full water, but to have a never-ending river. Here, are you already eager to send all your money slaves out? Let them dig don't worry, we just lit the increasing engine. But if this engine does have brake, no protective cover, then it is a super engine, but a pot that. It means risk. How to know if the slaves will bring back more treasure or will not return. Even drag ourselves into the abyss. This leads to the most important obstacle on risk management. In next part, we will from an attacker to a defender. Learn how to build an unbreakable wall. We will deeply analyze the survival map. Learn how to avoid those fatal traps. In the last part, we learned how to be a wise slave owner and our money and slaves out through the magic of bring back more slaves. It sounds like our wealth empire is about to be. We are about lie down, enjoy slaves. But what the biggest risk, it's that they're not enough, but that the slaves are sent out. But they can't come back. They may have a way, may have cheated away, And may, because of your wrong command, your slave empire may one night. So, after learning how to support, we must immediately learn a more advanced course, how to manage. Next, we need to analyze the 5 rules. In fact, all slaves must read the Slave Management and Risk Control Manual. This manual will teach us how to slaves from escaping, how to be safe and efficient. We still use the and son, no masa, to look at an unqualified slave, how to be away the first batch of elite slaves him. This manual wants us to first big pit in 5th. What mean? The first successful investment is the best example. He his first savings to the Assyrian Agar. Agar needs this money as his capital to buy bronze, and then make a shield and sell it to make profits. After Agar not only returned the capital, but also paid interest to Al-Qat. You see this process, Al-Qat himself is still doing his copywriting work, but he has saved the money. Saved the money, save the money. This is the ancient and most fundamental investment. Let your capital participate in the value creation and divide it a cup rice. And the most terrifying power lies in its self-reliance ability, which is the wealth your money slaves will work you. They will also have children, and their children will become your new slaves, birth to more grandchildren. For in there is an extremely shocking example. A farmer saved 10 silver coins for the debtor. He promised to get 1/4 of the interest. Noam Masser remembered to this manual. He began to learn how to become a qualified slave owner. The first and most important part is that there must always be loyal guard. This is Faze once said. Always keep at least 1/10 of the slaves by your side. This is your core squad, your strategic reserve squad. No matter how the business outside is, this team can't move. They are the final source. The second part is to find the safe and high-quality manner. This is Faze 2 told us. Smart slave owner can find the most profitable job. Let them go those reliable, stable, and sustainable returns projects to work. The bring back will increase. The third one, hire the most professional big manager to help you manage. This is risk management. Before you are to slaves to any new home, you must listen to the advice. Just entrust the slave to those with know-how to manage and protect their big managers, the experts. Their wisdom is yours. So the core idea of that as a slave owner, your main duty is without but to protect and equip your slaves. Only when this can your slave empire be at peace. Okay, now we've how to recruit slaves and how to manage them. But the most tricky question is, if we don't a slave now, and we even have the burden, what if we are treated slaves? This is the worst start, but don't be afraid. The also provides a detailed slave self-liberation guide. Next, let's see how real slave can on a plan to break the shackles and build his own slave empire. In the last part, we learned how to a wise slave owner to establish a complete of money, slave management, and risk control measures. We know how to protect our slaves, make them work us. But the most tricky question is, if we don't a slave now, even we ourselves are on debt, and others think we are slaves, what should we do? This is the worst start. Every penny of has to be over your debtor. You have no chance to recruit your first money slave. You for the owner day if you never see the end. But don't be afraid. The also provides a detailed manual, self-reliance. This manual comes from named Dabashil. His experience may be this book that can bring hope and power. Dabashil was once complete debt slave. He was in high debt. His choice was like many of us. He ran away from his hometown, thinking that long he didn't see the debt wouldn't exist. But this the stupidest idea. Because your debtor will, because of your departure, on will become the most powerful weapon of until you can longer win. In end, you be worse, even the real slave Dabashil, the for lifetime. Finally, he a subversive truth. This truth is all debtors need to he realized that your debt is your enemy. They will chase you and make you restless. But your debtors, those were to lend you, they are actually your allies. This change of is too important. We are afraid of the debtors. We calls and take them as our enemies. But in, they are can fight. Because you have a common goal, that is to you pay. So you need is to escape them, but to a clear, sincere, and feasible plan to them. Tell them, give me a little time, follow my plan. I promise to pay back. We are the same. So what makes the debtors willing to support you? This is the Dabashil engraved on the mudboard, which the most valuable time-traveling plans in 10, 70, 20 re-reporting plan. This plan cuts your every income into like cutting a cake. Each part has a clear mission. The first part is 10% of the income. Its mission is to pay for yourself. Light hope. Yes, you heard it right. Even if you paid a lot of Dabashil's plan, also firmly requires that you must keep the income of 10. Why? It seems to be of no help, but this is a psychological master's operation. This money is your future hope. He is announcing you and the whole world that I have not given up. I am a willing pays off debts. I am continuing for my future. Only with your own savings, you have real motivation and confidence to pay off your otherwise. You will fall into never giving and eventually give up resistance. This 10% savings is you for yourself. The to solving the is 70% of the income. His mission is maintain you and your paying debts. Does mean half to hell. Make sure you have something eat, something to live in. 70% of your survival line. It guarantees that your way of is sustainable, rather than self-abuse, a short-term hunger strike. That method will make you overpressure and take A who wants to succeed must first ensure that he has the strength to live on. The and also most critical action is percent of income. His mission is to systematically attack your enemy, debt. The Dabashir approach is to all your debts, no matter how big, clearly listed on a list. Then every month, will this 20% income according to the amount of to each debtor. This action seems insignificant, but it is very. First all, he showed all his allies and debtors your sincerity and determination. Most people will give you time and support. Secondly, he cleared all debts. This seems like an unreachable goal is into small that one day another. One day this chain will be completely broken. By this 10-70-20 plan is a perfect effort to liberate oneself. 10% savings is your spiritual pillar and future hope. 70% your living expenses is your physical security. 20% of payment is your attack weapon. 3 people support 1 is missing. Dabaxiel is relying on this plan. Step by step, not only did off all debts, but also used that 10% savings to save the first coin. Eventually, he life upside and became who was respected. So know how much debt you in trouble now. Please remember the guide Dabashil. He told us that overcoming debt is not how much money, but whether you have a systematic plan and you to start action. Okay, now we even biggest lockup and debt solution. We seem to have all the to wealth, but there are 2 more hidden and more difficult deal with demons waiting for us. They just feel their luck is not good. The negative mentality and from these 2 demons. How did hinder us it? In next part, we will go deep into our hearts, analyze the real relationship, and how this book teaches us to overcome this big psychological barrier. So far, we have mastered the system and learned of avoidance of and even got a plan to solve the debt problem. In theory, we go to wealth is already very clear, but many people may still an unwavering idea that is, I understand, but I'm just, look at those successful people. They just grab the seal, don't they? We always like to the setbacks in bad luck and others' success in the good. The benefits of can make us accept the situation without any changes. But this idea is one of the most solid psychological obstacles. This book uses a whole chapter to discuss the truth with. The scholars and tell us that so-called lucky goddess is not a blind who just spills money. She is a very picky, even a little powerful, risk investor. She holds huge wealth and opportunities, but she only votes for those she likes. So what the goddess like? The only standard is a word. Good luck can buy receiving opportunities. Other words, the of only favors those who are ready and who dare to act. Let's take 2 books on to perfectly miss 100 typical cases. You will understand that the so-called luck is actually how we pushed away. The first case is about how to get of the of. There is a businessman in. His father urged him to a very promising land development project. This is a great opportunity to make him rich. But this businessman, do it? He hesitated because he and his wife were thinking about buying some beautiful and fashionable new hats. He thought, no hurry, I still a lot of time, so he it off. As a when he remembered, the project had ended and got far beyond everyone's, and he can only wear that beautiful new hat to destroy the lame. Let's analyze. Is this luck? Not at. This is a very clear choice. On hand can bring long-term returns of asset investment. On hand can bring short-term, fast-paced. She chose the latter. The lucky goddess already handed on her door. But she said to happiness front of eyes, wait a minute, I'll deal with first. Sorry, the goddesses is precious. She won't wait. Your delay is the biggest thing. The second case is about how to scare the lucky goddess away. Also a businessman deep dating. Once he met a farmer who in hurry home outside, the other party is willing to sell a group of high-quality cotton sheep. At very business is only made to. The day he end could earn 3 times the profit. But this merchant, because of a dead end, lost his conscience. Because it dark, he could not immediately light the sheep. So he insisted that had wait until the dawn to count clearly before could pay. No matter how poor farmer asked, he was willing leave the slave to be guarantee. Just pay a part of he was and refused to change his mind. The next morning, the city gate opened. Other merchants came and bought the sheep. Let's analyze again. Is this bad? It's not. This is a typical one because excessive pursuit of perfection and failure to lack of decisiveness. The window period is very short. He asked the participants to a certain strength and flexibility. But this businessman, because of his stubbornness and indecency, looked at the lucky goddess from his side and shook head. These two stories deeply reveal the truth. The so-called bad luck is just a delay and hesitation. We are waiting for a perfect time, but the change fate often has a little flaw and is in. So this book tells us the real formula is worshiping, but good luck is to preparation and action. What is? It's we previous parts. Through the process and budget, let yourself have the money through learning. Let yourself have recognize opportunity. What it's overcoming the toyen and fear the opportunity comes. Be and reach out to grab it. So the truth of is actually not mysterious. It's not momentary wait, but a real preparation and a momentary action. We become the process, learning and learning. The goddess of will come to us. But all preparations and actions are based on one foundation. That is, the to create value. If our ability to itself is very weak, then even if opportunity comes, we may not have grasped its original money. So how to fundamentally improve our attract opportunities and create wealth? This leads to the core issue, how to the most precious assets, ourselves. In next part, we will analyze work in and see how we do things become our strongest wealth growth engine. So far, we seem to have all the external obstacles, but we often ignore one of the most fundamental questions. What for the continuous production of, is it investment project? Is it the stock that, no? This book tells us that the source is ourselves. We are always lays eggs. All the financial skills, savings, investment, and control are all learning how to the we have laid hard. But this part, we have back and discuss a more core problem. How can we keep our goose well? Because only by keeping the goose healthy, and it can continue to give you large and bright golden eggs. So how feed our own golden egg goose, make it stronger and stronger? The given in may challenge many modern people's ideas. The answer is to your job as your best friend. This view is the many people today. Working is for the boss to make money. It forms a clear contrast. But please, think carefully about the business giant Salanata. His life is the best proof of Salanata. A slave can be the lowest level a poor, skinny, ordinary goose, but he made a key choice. he did not the studio as a curse and did eliminate the workers. On contrary, he listened to the advice man, decided to love his work, and made to the extreme. When he was a slave, he not only baked the bread well, but also initiative, learn how to make more popular honey cakes. He even thought ways to get the street to sell them. Creating more value. What happened? First, he trained his skills. He his own goose more strong. Second, his active attitude attracted the attention, which is his future business partner, Arid Gula. Arid Gula values is not only his cake, but also strong desire to do things well. In this attitude, working as friend made him leave his slave status and started a brand new business life. The also countermeasures to warn us. For example, who Salinata, he was by philosophy, and that working lazy was the smart way to, as a he was to the, and the hardest, and died a tragic way. So this book tells us a profound truth. Your job is just to exchange it is you, to improve your self-worth, exercise your ability, accumulate your desire, and attract opportunities. Every time you work, you are working for your boss, but to feed your own golden goose and for your own future. As the book says, the more knowledge and wisdom, the more we've how to feed the goose. But the important thing is we have to provide a safe and stable growth environment. A single-priced, scared, and unregulated goose can't lay a good egg. Therefore, the mentioned 2 key points for first, live in a warm and comfortable nest, have your own house, have your own home, which can bring you huge sense psychological security. You don't have to worry about being driven away and don't have to endure the moving. This sense of can you more energy to improve yourself and your career. Second, build a solid foundation. Specifically, is to guarantee future income, is for future risks. What you are sick or old can't get thee. This requires us to advance and ensure build a solid firewall, protect us and our families from being unexpected risks. So see, investing in yourself is a complete system project. It includes a positive attitude to and continuous learning to enhance one's core capabilities. Includes the protection property and completion of project to create a stable back. Once all this, you can create the long life. Here, we seem to have mastered all of wealth, from the bottom-up perception to the system accumulation, growth, and defense, and then 2 of our own. But we still have one last, which is the ultimate question. What the purpose? Is it just to see bank accounts that growing and then die? Of course not. If cannot serve a higher goal, then it itself is meaningless. In last part, we will discuss the most profound wisdom of the ultimate meaning and become a soul-free person. We have learned all about wealth, but the last question we can't avoid is we do all 4. If the end of is just more wealth, it's too boring. This book gives us an ultimate answer. What we pursue is money, but a kind of soul freedom. The repeatedly mentions a question. A person's soul free or enslaved? The enslaved soul has with your profession. It is a can debt and desire and be live life. And the soul of is exactly the he. Controls his own desires, keeps his own promises, his own future, and takes responsibility. He is full of self-esteem and therefore wins the respect. So the wealthy person this book does from beginning, how to become a simple rich man, but how to master money to become a deserves wealth. Wealth is you this freedom and self-esteem. So, today on, take the rich freedom into your soul freedom. It can be a small sum money, or can be the first 10 yuan today. A small action to start your great journey. Thank you for watching. See in the next book.